iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.
God.
It's a dream come true.
We've been waiting 2 years for this. Well, I mean, I've been a part of the show for a long time, but we were supposed to open the show together in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a long wait, and we are so excited to finally bring it to New York.
Yeah, it's every actor's dream to be a part of the creative process and create characters from scratch, and to have permission to explore like this in the room is something really special.
I've been waiting years for this. This was supposed to happen before the pandemic, and so it's been on my mind, ruminating for a couple of years. I'm excited. I'm really excited for people to see it. I think they're really going to love it. The score is amazing. This cast is just insane.
Yeah, and for me, I just joined the cast, so it's I love joining this group of already people who have been waiting so long to be doing this, and now I'm okay, great, I can just join a happy group of people, so it's been a lot of fun.
I think it's a feeling of sort of relief, and that it actually gets to happen, and it feels very joyful. I mean, it just feels that might sound cliche, but it's true. It just feels okay, good to know,
It is joyous and overwhelming. I think the room has such a positive, happy feel to it because of the message of this show, which is empowering and leaves you feeling better than you did before you walked into the theater. And also just the fact that we get to play in a room together after 2 years of a pandemic.
Will you pinch me? Okay, I think it's real, but I'm honestly not sure. It's so exciting. It's so surreal. It's been 8 years in the making. It was going to be 6 years, but as we all know, a little 2 years of something happened in between. So yeah, we're just really, really grateful.
Well, for me, the joy is the finish line after 7 years. I know the ladies started working on this 8 years ago, but I didn't join in. I think I joined in their second year, so it's been 7 years for me. So I'm thrilled. I'm not sure I've ever worked on a show this long before getting the opportunity, but obviously with COVID, that was the big delay.
I think for me, I joined in 2020, and it's kind of been cooking for me and digesting, and so finally to be able to sort of bring it to life is it's a relief and it's exciting.
I play Delilah, and Delilah McPhee is kind of the hero of this story.
Not kind of.
Delilah's, in a new school. She's kind of an outsider and has to deal with a lot of bullying and hardship at home as well. She's raised by a single mom because her parents just split up. So she really escapes into a world of reading books and falls in love with a handsome prince. So this kind of, and then tells the story, his story as the prince is also not what you'd expect.
Yeah, I play Prince Oliver, and though he may look like your stereotypical prince in the tight tights and the tall boots and all that jazz, Oliver has big-time Labrador Retriever energy and
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly, don't judge a book by its cover. And it's so fun to be so silly and goofy while dressed so fancy, and the dichotomy is really fun.
The costumes by Greg Barnes in this show are insanely
gorgeous,
beautiful.
Gorgeous.
The show is sort of in almost Wizard of Oz-like fashion. The show takes place in a couple of different worlds. So in our real world, I play our leading character, Delilah's school psychiatrist, and then when we go into the book, when we go between the lines, as it were, I'm the villain of the story, but I'm actually a very sweet, soft marshmallow man who enjoys collecting butterflies. So that's my real passion.
Yes. So in the real world, I play Janice, who is, I would say, a hype woman / yes girl, but for the wrong reasons. She is not okay with herself, so she attaches herself to the popular crowd and kind of is a bully towards Delilah, but unfortunately. And in the fantasy world, I play Marina, who is a kind of powerhouse feminist mermaid. And you might also see me on Point Shoes twirling around with this guy playing a fairy.
I had a conversation with Jody when we first started, because in the original novel Between the Lines, Jules is not non-binary, just a cisgender teen. But for this adaptation with the musical, which she is also writing on, they went further and created a safe space for a character like Jules, a non-binary person. And it truly brings me to tears to know that somebody's going to have this character to look up to.
Well, I have to give credit to my mother. She was the one who first said, this book sings. And I even remember her coming to me and saying, I think this book should be a musical. And I said, okay. And it was her who really started to get the ball rolling and the meetings with Daryl Roth. And Daryl Roth, of course, found Tim McDonald and, grew it into what it is today. And it's the biggest, mother-daughter, she was right moment that she can hold over me for life.
The first day of rehearsals really felt like you could see how important this story was in a whole new light. I think those 2 years really gave this a new gravity because this is a really uplifting, fun, optimistic show. And everyone in the room could feel that this is the story that we want to tell. And I think it's the story that people want to see and experience now in the world of theater.
The joy factor of bringing this show to life is what we're experiencing right now. We are in a crowded room at a press junket, which 2 years ago, I didn't know if this would ever happen again for this show or any other show. Our rehearsal room is pure 100% joy. If I could sell it on the street, the world would be such a better place. There's just love, joy, happiness. Everyone laughs. Everyone's trying to make something better. Everyone's trying to tell this story in a fun way. Everyone's just trying to do their best work because we're like thoroughbreds who have been like in the barn for too long.
I pinch myself every day. I mean, to come into a room from 10 to 6 with a group of people as kind, but also as goofy and, intelligent and just warm as this cast and this creative team is. It's truly a dream come true as an actor, as a person, and I guarantee you that audiences are going to feel that too when they come and see the show.
It's really unheard of in this day and age to be creating a musical, and they feel it in your body when the joke is fine, but it's not good enough, and then Jody or Sam, her daughter, will come over to me and they'll be like, I just wrote this for you, and it's laugh out loud funny. They really are collaborative. Jeff, the writers, there was something the other day in a new song they wrote a new song that you don't know about yet, and it was too low for me, but everybody else was fine, and they found a way. They didn't have to. It was a very short bit that I sang, but they raised it up. They're incredibly talented, but more importantly, they're nice people and they're incredibly collaborative, as is the cast.
They're insanely talented. And not only that, though, they're also just great people. They're people you want to spend time with, which is what I look for when I'm casting. Not just are they talented, but do I want to hang out with them for the next 3 months? And unequivocally, the answer is yes to every single person on our stage.
It feels like the time is right, even though the time has always been right for a story that's very empowering for young women and one that connects the generations. It's a wonderful mother-daughter story, starting with the fact that Jody and her daughter Sammy wrote the book together that this is based on. But as a grandma, this started for me so many years ago when I was wanting to produce something that my own grandchildren, who at the time were young teenagers, would really love and their friends would love, and they would feel it was a story that spoke to them and empowered them and gave them confidence. And so now, while my eldest has just graduated college, here we are. But there's a lesson there in tenacity and sticking with things that you love to do.
Some of the songs that are in this show are not even a month old. Some of them aren't 3 weeks old. It's incredible to watch them do their thing and pitch it to us, and we try it, and they're always good.
Yeah.
They're always good.
And it's also very of the moment.
Yeah.
We're in rehearsal, and sometimes I have to catch myself because it feels like we're singing an Olivia Rodrigo song, or a Katy Perry song. It transcends musical theater, I think, in its maybe more traditional sense, in a really, really cool, exciting, fresh way. And I can't help but feel like people are really going to become hooked on this music.
The show has so many kind of amazing themes. The show's about mothers and daughters. It's about being yourself. It's about finding yourself and embracing your own true nature. And I think that the show is just kind of a balm in a world that gets a little bit scarier every day. It seems to me. This piece just puts a lot of goodness out there, and on top of that, it's fun, it's moving, it's funny, and also the other thing that I'd like people to take away is the fact that they are literally not going to be able to stop humming the songs if that is any way that, like, the way that I've been responding to it, which is they're earworms that just get stuck in your head. Yeah.
Yeah, the songs are they are really addictive. I cannot stop humming them. I'm singing them all the time. I know everyone's song already, songs that are not mine, and we're only in the beginning of week 2, and I'm like, oh, I've memorized the score. It's one of those shows. So that part, I'm really hoping audiences like walk away humming and feeling like just like a lift off of their chest of how like wonderful life can be, and hopefully everyone can feel super joyful and happy after they see the show.
It makes my job so much easier when I like the music, when I'm interested and invested in the music immediately. Playing it in the shower, walking down the street, the whole, I have to just listen to it over and over. But this time I get to listen to it over and over, so I'm really grateful for them.
When you first start working with a director, you get to see the beginnings of what they're capable of. He really helped us shape the show and give it bones and help it become what it needed to become in order to get on stage. But then we got to see what he does with the production in 3D, and it blew our minds. Like, I have chills just like thinking about it. When we were lucky enough to have a production in Kansas City back in 2017, we got to see Jeff in all his glory, and what an incredible visionary and also leader.
This story really asks the question, is it ever too late to change the story that you're living in, even if you're right smack in the middle of living it? And I think that the last 2 years of the world have really put us all in a position where we're living in this story we would never have written for ourselves. And I think that watching the character of Delilah go through the transition of feeling like a victim in the story to being empowered enough to change it and write the story that she would want to have, I think that it's really relatable no matter what age you are, and I think it's really empowering, and I think people are going to take away from it hopefully that sense of possibility for themselves, that they can be the hero of their own life.
I think after the hardships that the past 2.5 years have brought the entire world, everybody could use a dose of main character energy, and everybody could wake up and choose to be the hero of their own story. And that is really exemplified in this show.
I think like the idea of us writing our own stories and us taking bits and pieces from things that we love and creating a life that we are happy and that we are proud of is the main message.
It's very funny. It's very touching. It's very romantic. It's very sexy. It's really well written. The lyrics, the music, the book are, I think, world class. And everybody in this cast is crazy talented to infinity. So you'll laugh, you'll cry a little bit, you'll be uplifted, and there'll be some sexy guys in tights. Like, what's not to like?
Indeed. I hope, I hope an audience member, when the lights come up after hopefully they've applauded and all that, just goes, oh, they don't have to be like, let's go talk about that, but it just should we go get a drink? Or should we go for a walk? Whatever. That's what I hope. I hope they just feel light.
The message of the show is live the story you want if it's not the story you're in. And I think after the past 2 years, we were all in a story nobody wanted to be in. That is a really important message, and one that people are going to internalize. That sense that you can write your own narrative if you don't like the one that you've been stuck with. I'm also really, really proud of this team because there are a lot of women in it. Sammy and I wrote the source material. Daryl Roth is our producer. We have an all-female songwriting team, which is like having 2 unicorns in your bedroom at once. It is magical to have that kind of representation behind the table, and to also have an incredible amount of representation on the stage. We think people are going to be able to see themselves reflected in the story that we're telling in multiple ways. And anyone who comes to the show, I think, is going to be able to find themselves in this story.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.